So we're going to go through an onboarding workflow. So as you can see on the left side, we're going to have an HR manager put a request for a new employee because he's going to start. And then based on the different stages of that request, we're going to have the IT operations team, the facilities team, and also the corporate IT asset management team who assigns the hardware, working together and collaborating to finalize and fulfill that ticket end to end. So that's what the high level onboarding request is. Let me dive in a little bit of what the workflow looks like. Okay, so the workflow here is an onboarding workflow, and it's a multi-level workflow where it goes to different stages. And we found that with various clients, this is a workflow that it's used for Microsoft shops where they have an Entra ID Active Directory set up. So first the account needs to be created, then you can go ahead with all the different steps as assigning hardware, software, hardware configuration, scheduling onboarding, and then creating a badge for the user when they join. So some highlights, it's a multi-level workflow. We're going to show you how tasks are generated at different status for different teams, and then how those are assigned to different teams. Once those tasks that are linked get completed, then we auto transition the main ticket to the next step. So that's the workflow. And then what we're going to have a single portal for all service requests. So in this case, this is what the benefit of Jira Service Management in the enterprise service management use case scenario. So you can have multiple services. So we have a services for human resources, facilities, corporate IT, and then we can see how they'll work together to fulfill the request. One of the key things that we need to complete for this workflow is an asset management database. These are the employees in the corporation. As you can see on the left side, you got the departments, the groups, locations, and this is my account. And you can see I'm active, I have my email address. You can see the manager that is that I'm reporting to, and also a lot of other details that are required for the employee. So the key thing here is that you want to have a database that tracks your employees and also the manager for this specific scenario. We also have another asset management schema, and we call it categorization. The categorization is used to automate the workflows. One of the things that we found with our clients was that they have this categorization called a persona. So based on the persona, which is a combination of your department and your position title, you will be assigned a persona, and the persona has different assets assigned to them and also different software that they require for their job. So automatically, we would suggest a T1 laptop here for the first user persona here, a desktop, they need a mouse, they need 2 monitors, docks. So this will be used to pre-populate the tickets that we create for the other teams and help with the automations. Finally, another component of this workflow is having an IT employee assets database. So here we are tracking all the hardware that is available in the corporation. Also, we track whether the items are assigned to people. So in this case, I'm showing laptops that are in stock that could be assigned to end users. So we're tracking the monitors, the desktop, phones, keyboards, and we need that for this specific example. And of course, to help with all the automations, we're using Jira Automation. So in this specific demo that I'm going to show you is 100% Jira Automation. And we use other plugins for UI enhancements, which I'm going to highlight for you. But everything that we do is through workflow automations. Okay, and then we have a dashboard that helps the managers and also the agents. So in this scenario, I have a dashboard that shows you an onboarding dashboard. It tells you how many tickets are open for onboarding, how many tickets are assigned to me as an agent on the top right. And then at the bottom, you can see all the different tickets associated with the onboarding requests that are grouped by the different groups. So I am in the HR service desk. Let me just go back here, right, different categories, and I'm going to go to the employee onboarding request. And this is where we enter the user. So I'm going to pretend I'm the HR manager, and I'm going to put a name. Okay, I'm going to put myself as a manager. starting date. And here, depending on the department category, we will change what fields are available on the next field. So if, for example, if I put G&A, the department will be these ones. But if I now select engineering and I go back here, then I see different options based on the first selection. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go select software here. Position title, we're going to be a senior software engineer. And then you can select these other fields that temporary worker, no. And then we're going to select a remote worker. There's a remote worker, and here we're going to say no. And when I say no, a new field pops up, right? I'm going to select Australia. So this form is being built using Jira Forms, which is one of the new capabilities from Atlassian for JSM. So I'm going to send the ticket. Okay, so the request is created, which contains all the information that I just populated. And one of the plugins I like, this is a plugin called Feature Bundle. And it actually shows you where you're at in your workflow. So right now we sent it for, we just submitted the request, it's a new status. But then here you can consolidate different statuses into groups. So here we're awaiting manager review. And then you can have work in progress and request fulfilled, which out of the box you don't have. You will just see a status like I have here. So I'm going to refresh the page. And now you can see that it's a manager review. Okay. And it's still sitting in onboarding process manager, awaiting manager review. So what this is doing right now is in our many clients, they wanted to set or edit the ticket that comes in. So what we're doing here is we're setting a seating assignment. So they need a desk. So the manager will get notified via email. And also, since I'm the manager, I have access here, I'll enter the location of the desk. So I can put 1, 2, 3, 4 desk. And then I submit that ticket. Okay, so right now there's no intervention from agents, but now since I submitted the request, the ticket will now be updated into account creation. And then as you can see, work is in progress. So agents are working on the ticket. Now, what agents will do usually, they will have a dashboard, right? So I have a dashboard here where I could see all the open requests that are assigned to me, right? So I have a few tickets assigned to me, and I could see all the other stats about onboarding requests in general, and then all the different related tasks to it, which I'm going to show you later. But this is a good way to have your teams working together and then looking at your queues and assigning tickets accordingly. But now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open this ticket directly from here. As you can see here, the title was updated with the correct user's name or employee's name. And the status is account creation. So right now, when I show you the workflow in more detail, we want to make sure that the account is created in AD, Active Directory. And once that is done, you can continue with the rest of the tasks. So one of the things we've done with automation is that 2 tasks are created. So you got the create active directory account for Antonia, and then we have the credential handoff as well. So the first task is to do this. But before I go there, I want to show you what happened here. So the request was created. We selected the engineering category, the department, the senior position title for software engineer, and then we had the persona. So the persona, when I open this up, it tells you they need a desktop, D3, laptop T1, and all the software that they need. And what we've done as well is we use automation to populate the software that is required. So this specific employee needs customer access for JSM, Bitbucket, and also Microsoft Teams phone number. Okay, and then you can see the location. So what I'm going to do next is to start working on the ticket. So as you can see, the ticket is being created in a different project based on the ID. So we're on the HR project. But when I open this ticket separately, you will see that it's in another project. The manager is myself. You have the details about what you need to do here, create an Active Directory account for Antonia Lowe, and then you have the link to the main ticket as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to start working on this ticket. I'm going to pretend I'm now part of the application service desk, which is the IT operations team. I'm going to start the progress. one of the things we're going to do here, if I had access to Active Directory, I would create an entry, but we're going to use automation to do that. So right now, what's going to happen is I'm going to pretend I'm going to create an entry in Active Directory and then create an asset in our JSM database. So I'm going to put that. So I'm going to do that. So we're creating the account in Active Directory. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to say it's done. Okay, so this work has been done. So now when I go back to my ticket, what we've done is we created an entry in our asset database. So now I'm going to scroll down here. You're going to see a user called Antonia Lowe. And when I open that up, it has the relationships to the engineering department, Australia, and then the manager, which is me. So essentially what we did was we had the database here for all the users, departments, groups. So the user here is now created. So I'm just going to filter this to show created now. So now when I open this entry, you can see that the person is currently Antonia Lowe, it's onboarding, and then we copied some of the values, and that's what in that graph earlier. So the Active Directory account is created, which is great. And now the next task here also for the application service desk is to hand off the credentials. So we're going to pretend we're handing off credentials to the manager. So we're going to work in progress. And then we'll mark it as done. Okay. And then credentials. And then you can send the credentials to the manager. Okay. All right. So now that I did that, it's refreshing the page here. And the ticket automatically was transitioned to assign hardware and software without us having to do anything on the main ticket. And at the same time, you will see a couple of tickets that I created as well. So let me refresh. And these are the tasks to assign the hardware and also provide access to the different software services that are needed. And the way we did that, as I showed you in the deck, was that we have what we call categorization database. And then we have the personas, right? So we got different personas. Based on the persona, I'm going to open one up here as an example. You have different assets that they require. And you can see the different software and then all the hardware details, which can be used for your automations. Okay. So now you can see the 4 tickets that were created. I'm going to open them up in different tabs. Let's start with the hardware allocation. Okay, so this is the hardware allocation. And once again, when you look at their objects, they don't have any hardware right now, right? This is just the position, department, and manager information. And what we're going to do is we have the persona. So I'm an agent from the corporate IT assets group at this point, and I'm going to look at what this person needs. So this person needs a D3 desktop, a T1 laptop, and then all this headsets, docks, and key and mouse. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the assignment section. And what this is going to do is basically calling our assets database and looking at things that are in stock. So here is a D3 laptop. So I'm going to put D3, and then will give me the hits of all the in-stock items that are available for that model. So I'm just going to select this one, checkbox, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the laptop. So let's see, it's a T1 laptop. Okay, there's one available, great. So I'm going to assign that. And then for monitors, we got a bunch of monitors, but we just need one, so assign it. And we're going to do the same thing for the other ones. Okay, and then, okay. So before I proceed here, now I assign all the information, and I want to show you something as well here in our assets. So this is the assets view, all the laptops and desktops that I have. And another thing we want to mention is also the mice here, right? They got different mice. And then here you have a restock level, which if it goes lower, then you can send an email, automated email to the inventory manager to get more stock. And then in stock, meaning that when I finish the assignment of this hardware, the stock should go lower. And what you will also see is that when I assign a laptop to a user, the owner will also be updated. Okay, so let's go back to our CIA 40 ticket. And then we're just gonna go and approve that. So now the items are assigned accordingly. I'm gonna pretend we're shipping. Shipping is complete, and also I'm just gonna push it to done. So all this stuff is happening. Of course, I'm just doing it quickly for the demo, but that will take time. And when I go back now to our user, I open the object graph, you can now see that all the assets are allocated accordingly. So that D3 laptop, that T1 desktop, and the monitor are assigned. Okay. Now, when we go back to our schemas, let's go to the Logitech mouse. So Jira automation reduces stock from 46 to 45. Okay, so all that automation is happening and it's making everyone's lives easier. So no more spreadsheets. Everything is being tracked through JSM and also the assets database. So that was the hardware component. And then for software, we have different teams working on the tickets. So I'm going to show you what has happened. So here you have the JSM customer access, right? And as you can see, this is managed by the IT service desk. So the IT service desk will be notified. And what I'll do is I'm just going to work on it. And then resolve it. Okay, so now that ticket is done. And then if I open the other ones, some other requests. So this is also by IT services, but the Bitbucket one is by the engineering team. So that's why we use the software catalog to have different teams being assigned accordingly. So let me show you what that looks like. So here we have the software catalog. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. Right. So I'm showing you now that for the different software service that we provide, different teams work on it. So that's why we create separate tickets. And sometimes these teams also have different activities within or checklists. Instead of creating one ticket for all the different software services, we have different teams assigned accordingly. So let me just complete this as well. So let's complete these tasks quickly. It's done. Close that. And we're going to do the same thing for the Teams phone. All right, so it's done. So now what's going to happen is the ticket automatically will be pushed to the next step. After this, the next step is hardware configuration. So let's give it a few seconds to figure that out. I may have to refresh. So let me just do that. All right, so it looks like automation is still going. Let me refresh one more time. Okay, so let's pretend it. Yeah, there you go. It went. Okay, it took some time. Yeah, I think it's taking some time because it's going through some series of if statements. So now it's done automatically. So I'm going to refresh one more time. So what happens is it transitions to hardware configuration and it creates a new task for the service desk to configure the hardware. So I'm going to open this separately as well. Okay, I'm going to quickly mark it as done, but essentially they will configure the hardware, which is a step in the process. And then more tasks will be created. So the next step is to clean up the desk for the person and also the schedule the onboarding session. So for the onboarding, I'm going to quickly push that to done, but let's refresh. Okay, mark done. Perfect. And then one of the things I want to highlight here is that remember when I created the sitting form here through Jira Forms? I also made that as an attachment so that I can copy this to our facilities team. So this is an attachment that we created, which essentially is a very simple form at this point, but we're saying is desk 1, 2, 3, 4 desk. And then when I go to my facilities task, which is now the FO operations service desk, right? You can also see the attachment that was there. So they don't need to refer back to the original ticket. They know now the seating assignment is 1, 2, 3, 4 desks. And one of the things we do as well, we do have a checklist here for the agents to complete. And let's say I'm trying to be smart and I want to just mark it done. I'm going to get an error message, right? Please complete the mandatory tasks. So we're going to complete those first. And this is one of the plugins that we use, and it's called Smart Checklist. So what I'm going to do now is, as an agent, review the form here, and then assign the desk. Then we will go into the desk and clean it up, and then set it up for day one. So I'm just going to quickly do that. It's a quick checklist. So if it's done, we then push it to done status. All right, so now the ticket is good. Let me go back to the original ticket. Okay, so let's refresh. So now is pending batch creation. And then making sure the person attends the first day. So I'm going to just quickly approve these tickets from here. And let's pretend the date is today for the employee to start, and then they attended the session. So we're going to mark it as done. And at this point, when you mark it as done, the status of the ticket will go to resolved. So let's give it a second. Okay. And it's in completed status. Now, when I go back to our user, or person we just onboarded, you can see now that she was in status onboarding before, but now it should be in active status. So now it's active. Everything has been set up for the specific employee, and right, they got all the hardware necessary, as I was showing you on the hard object graph, right? And you could also see the inbound and outbound references if they're connected to objects. Okay, so that was a very quick view on how you could use your onboarding requests using Jira Service Management, a little bit of the asset management, and also some Jira automation behind the scenes to update fields, assign, notify the proper people accordingly. I hope you enjoyed the HR onboarding demo. Please subscribe to support this channel.